Tanzania. Today is unfortunately the last day of Future of Tanzania, and I hope everybody did well on their theory and programming tests. Um, and for this class specifically, we're going to be going over a bunch of we're going to be going through the programming problems that you had for the test. Just going to like show the answers for them and how we get those answers. So yeah, without further ado, I'll pass it off to Baron to go through the first half of those.
Yeah, so as Aiden said, I will be for the first half of the problems. So I'm just gonna go ahead and share my screen. Okay, hopefully you guys can see my screen. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So the first problem is called, is there an echo here? And in this problem, basically it says that, let me zoom in just so that we can see it properly. But an echo is when sound waves bounce off something and come back to you, so you hear yourself saying what you just said. An echo is when sound waves, yeah, so it repeats itself, and it's ironic because, that's an echo, right? So it says it back to you. So wait, did you hear that? That was an echo. And you have been tasked to create a echo program. Okay, so basically in this program, we have our input, and how our input works is essentially we will have the first line, which has a positive integer of n, and then it's going to, or sorry, positive integer t, and it's going to denote the number of test cases that follow. Each test case will have the following inputs, which is a single line of text that should be echoed, and there are no constraints. So our program should create an echo by printing each line twice, and it's going to print it back to back. Okay, so that means it's going to print it right next to itself. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get into this problem. So we have, well, I'll delete this first, and then, so we have t, right? T is going to be equal to the number of test cases that we have. So t equals, and then it's going to say int input. And then once we take t in, we're going to basically run a for loop t times. Okay, and for this, this is basically just to go through each of our test cases. And then in here, we're going to print them out twice, back to back. But first we need to save it to a variable. So echo equals input, right? And then we're going to print echo twice. Okay. And so, so one thing about this test case is that it's actually technically correct. Okay. So I don't, those of you who did this problem, I'm sure you saw this as well, but this here, it says you are history makers, and it doesn't have a hyphen, but the expected output has a hyphen. Now that's not in any of the rules, so that was a mistake, a little bug, but this is the correct answer. Okay. Then we can try to submit our code. And as you can see, we get this test case correct. So you know that this code is right. All right, this is a Bible verse. I'm sure a lot of you might know it, and it just echoes it back, right? So super straightforward. Let's move on to the next problem. Okay, so this one is add apply. So nowadays, if you put two things together, you need to come up with a cool name to put describe the two things together, like Benifer or Brangelina. In this problem, you'll deal with the concepts of addition and multiplication, and you will add apply. Okay. So basically, in add apply, your task is to write a program which does simple which does simple addition and multiplication based on two input numbers. So for the input format, what you're going to do is essentially you have to it's actually really simple, but you have to just give a, a added result of the two numbers and then a multiplied result of the two numbers, right? But it's just a lot of fancy, wording. So I'll just go ahead and read it. But yeah, basically the first line contains a positive integer t that denotes the number of test cases, and each test case has the following inputs. So a single line will contain two positive integers separated by a space, and the numbers will be small enough to where they will not be bigger than, I think that's 2,147,483,647 when multiplied together. Yeah, so the constraint is that the result R will not be greater than 2,147,483,647, and the output format is that for each test case, your output should be two numbers. The first is the results of adding the two input numbers, and the other is the result of multiplying them. And so you need to separate them with the space, right? So here is the input example. We have three test cases, and then we have two numbers for each of the test cases. These are our inputs, and we're going to add them, and we're also going to multiply them. Okay, so that's what that looks like here. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 plus 4 is 9. 5 times 4 is 20. 3 plus 8 is 11. 3 times 8 is 24. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get started. So we're going to take an n, right? N equals, and then we need to cast it as an int, but it's an input, right? And then we're going to run our for loop. Well, actually, technically it's t, but yeah, I'll just do it for to t because that's what it says in the problem. For I in range of t, we're going to print out the added version and the multiplied version. But first, we need to take in our inputs. In order to do this, we're going to take them in using the input method, obviously. Then we're going to split it, and then we're going to put it into a map. Okay. So it's going to be map. Okay. So input.split, type int, then we put it into a map. Okay. So this is going to make A and B equal to these two individually. And then now we print out A plus B. Right. So we print out the added version first, and then we print out A times B. So that's the multiplied version. Okay. Hopefully everyone got that so far. Remember, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the Q&A. I'm sure these are pretty easy for you guys so far. So, but yeah. So we'll go ahead and click run code. Oh, give me 1 sec, guys. Yeah, I just forgot to put in parentheses here because it's a method. But once we run our code, yeah, we get a passing sample input or sample test case. So we can submit it. And there we go. As you can see, we passed both of them. So that's add apply. Moving on. The next problem, 3 out of 5. This is Fibonacci. Now, some of you guys that might have, attempted this problem, you might have noticed that there was something funny with the you might have noticed that there's something funny with the time, right? So it showed up as like you know you got a timeout error, and that's because some methods of the Fibonacci sequence are actually faster than others. So we'll go ahead and we'll look at that later. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's get started on Fibonacci. So the Fibonacci sequence is attributed to the Italian mathematician Leonardo of Pisa. It is represented as a sequence of integers. Then it starts with 0, comma 1, where every number after the first two is the sum of the two preceding numbers. So the beginning of the Fibonacci sequence is 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34. Okay, so your task is to write a program which renders the nth number of the Fibonacci sequence. For example, if you were given an n value of 9, you're to return the ninth number of the sequence, which would be 21. For the input format, basically, you're going to get a positive integer t, which denotes the number of test cases that follow. Each test case has the following input, which is a single positive integer, which represents the position in the sequence for which are to determine the value. And the number will be less than or equal to 90. Okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started on this problem. The only constraints that we have is that it's going to be less than or equal to 90. And for the output, we're going to output one line containing the sequence position and the value of the integer at that position in the Fibonacci sequence. Each line of output should be in the format position equals value. So we need to find the nth position of all of these, right? So the seventh, the seventh Fibonacci number, the first Fibonacci number, the fifth Fibonacci number, and so on. Okay. So as you can see, or sorry, this is the number of test cases. This is the nth numbers that we need to find. So the first number of the Fibonacci sequence is 0. The fifth one is 3, and you guys get the idea. So yeah, this is a little longer than the other problems, but still pretty easy. Let's make a function that first finds any nth Fibonacci number. Okay, we'll call it fib, and we pass an n. So we have the Fibonacci sequence adds the two preceding numbers to make a new one. So we're going to have a and b, which are count as the two preceding numbers, and these are the default ones that you start with. So we're going to set it to that. And then for I in range of n, what we're going to do is a and b equals b and a plus b. So they get updated. So now a is going to be equal to b, and then b is going to be equal to a plus b. So they just get, Fibonacci'd, I guess, if that's a verb. And then we're going to return a, okay? Because that's the final number. Okay, and then next we have our main function. Now in our main function, we're going to take in t, right? And that's going to be the number of test cases. And then we're going to create a for loop that runs through t times, right? And then we're going to have, basically we're going to have a, which is going to be our input. And then our Fibonacci number is actually going to be equal to fib of a minus 1. Okay. And basically, right, this is going to give us our Fibonacci number, and then we're going to print it out. So we're going to use printf, and it's going to be, we're going to first print out a, right, which is our nth number, right? And then it's going to be Fibonacci number itself. Okay, and so that's going to be how we print it out. And then finally, we're just going to do the call the main method. Um, okay, give me one sec, guys. Oh, another silly mistake by me. Basically, for the Fibonacci number, right? Um, we all we need to do is just do a minus one, but a minus one has to be inside of the parentheses, right? So to avoid any confusion, that was the error. And there we go. So that is Fibonacci. And if we submit, then yeah, we get it all correct. And yeah, we can move on to the next problem. This one's also a little longer on the longer side, but pretty simple. So you're given a figure type and its size, and you're supposed to draw this figure using asterisks. Okay, and the output will have a maximum size of 80 characters across and 22 characters down. For the input format, each line is going to contain a letter which denotes the type of figure, and either one or two of its integers will denote the dimensions of the figure. So the input formats for each figure type are as follows: S height, H height, and L height. As for the constraints, the type of figure will be either S, H, or L, and 0 is less than or equal to I is less than or equal to 80, right? So it's going to be no more than 80 characters. And and then basically H and W not going to exceed 22, right? So basically, this is the length, height, and width. So the length will not be greater than 80. The height and the width will not be greater than 22. Okay, you get the idea. So for H height, basically, it's in the name, right? Or it's I mean it's given in the output. You can't really explain it in words too well. A square is just a square made of asterisks. An H is just um it's a in descending order, and an L is in ascending order or ascending order. Okay, so L we start from 1 go to 5, H we start from 5 go to 1, square is a square. So let's start coding. So we're going to call our main method, and then we're going to check for it. Okay, then we have the type. When we have our input, we have the type of triangle or the type of shape, and then we have the size. So we're going to take those in right now. So we're going to say type, comma, size equals, and then input dot split. Okay. But size is going to be equal to an int of itself. So we're going to cast it into an int. And then if we're dealing with an S, it's super easy. Um, all we have to do is we have to make a for loop for I in range, then S, or sorry, for I in range size. And then we're going to print out an asterisk size amount of times for each line. Okay. So it goes by size for row, goes by size for length. Now, what if we're dealing with an H? Now, if we're dealing with an H, we still have to make a for loop. But in this for loop, instead of printing out, like this, we're going to print out spaces first. So we're going to print out what an I space is because, and I'll show you why later, but let me just first code it out. And then after the spaces, we're going to add the actual asterisks. And then just for good measure, I'll just put some parentheses here. But basically, the reason why we put the spaces is because there are spaces in the beginning, as you can see. One space here, two space here, three space here. It's basically I because I is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So just I spaces, and then we have size minus I asterisks, right? Makes sense. And then lastly, if it's neither S or H, it has to be L. So all we do is we just print out the asterisk times I. Okay, and hopefully that will work. And that is strange. Oh, right. For basically for L, we have to start at 1 because if we start at 0, then it's going to give us 0 stars at the beginning. And so we have to start at 1 and we end at size plus 1. Okay. Okay. And then if we submit, we are good to go. And then the final problem of the half before I hand it off to Aiden is going to be, what triangle is this? So for what triangle is this? Basically, it's asking if you know the triangle inequality theorem. And if you don't, here's what it is. Um, the sum of two lengths, the sum of the lengths of any two sides of a triangle is greater than the length of the third side. So that sounds pretty easy, but your job is basically to write a program to identify valid triangles. And so to do this, you need to determine if the three sides can even form a triangle in the first place. And you also have to tell what type it is. So equilateral triangles have three sides that are the exact same length. Isosceles triangles have two sides of equal length and one side that is a different length. And then scalene triangles have no equal side lengths. So for the input format, the first line has t, which is the number of test cases. And then each test case has a single line with three side lengths, which are space separated. And yeah, you need to these are basically just going to be your triangle side lengths. Okay. And then as for the output, for each case, you either have to print out one of the possible outputs. And so the possible outputs are not a triangle, isosceles, equilateral, and scalene. Okay. So, yeah. So those are the possible triangle output possibilities. Let's go ahead and get coding. So we have t first. That's going to be equal to int of input. And then after that, we're going to have our for loop. We're going to run through all the test cases. And first off, we need to check whether it's a triangle to begin with. Any two sides of the triangle combined must be greater than the third side length. So it's if a plus b is greater than c, and b plus c is greater than a, and a plus c is greater than b, then we're dealing with a triangle. And so we can check. So if we'll start with the easiest one, equilateral. If A is B and B is C, then we know it's an equilateral. And then else if A equals B and B is not equal to C, or A equals C and A is not equal to B, or B equals C and B is not equal to A, then we have an isosceles triangle. Otherwise, we're not dealing with it. We're dealing with a scaling triangle because none of the sides are the same. And if it's an else here, we don't even have a triangle to begin with. Um, right, and then we have to take in our input, but A, B, and C are all going to be done, taken in using the map method. So I'm going to take in my map, and then I'm going to use input.split with a int, a parameter, and yeah, our test case works. So does our test case number 1 here. So that is the what triangle is this problem. That is the first 5 problems. So yeah, hopefully you guys understood those. Those are a bit on the easier side a little bit. But yeah, now I'm going to hand it off to Aiden, who is going to go over the next half of them.
Yeah, I'll go over the next ones. So, well, let me share my screen. Um, okay. Okay. So, yeah, we'll be going over the second half. So, the second half being golf, something's missing, change digits, string stats, and wraparound code. And yeah, we'll start off with golf. So, in the sport of golf, scoring is based upon what a normal score should be for a particular hole in a course. The normal score, called par, is based upon the length of that hole measured from the tee to the starting point to the green to the end point. For the vast majority of golf courses and for this problem, par will be either 3, 4, or 5. Through the years, names were given to scores above and below par on a hole. Uh, yeah, the more common names are listed below. Golf scores are reported in 2 ways. The first way is to report the cumulative score. That is, the player scored a 68 after playing in relation to par. If the par for the course is 72, then the score reported as 68 would be 4 under par. A score of 75 would be 3 over par. So this is just like an example of like what each of the things are. So if we have par, then that means that we got a score that's equal to par. If we got a birdie, that's 1 below par. Eagle if we got 2 below par. Bogey if we got 1 above par. And then double bogey if we got 2 above par. So input format, there's going to be 4 input lines. Each will contain 2 positive integers. The first integer will give the par for the hole, and the second integer will be the score on that hole. Output format, there will be 5 outputs. For each input line, we want to print the name for that score. And so just 1 for each of our inputs. And for our 5th output, we want to print the cumulative score in terms of par. So if you remember over here, we're going to be using the second way to report the cumulative score. So yeah, for example, 5-4, that's like we got 1 below par. So that would become birdie. And then we have 2 over par here, that would become double bogey, and then so on and so forth. So first, yeah. Okay. So for this one, of course, the first thing that we want to do well, I mean, there's a lot of things we could do to get an input. The way that I'm going to be doing it is just using import sys and then using the read line function from there. Um, so we're going to do, well, actually, we need to read in 4 different things. So the first thing I'm going to do, actually, before I read the lines, are going to be for I in range of 4, and then we're going to put in the reading. We're going to read the lines each separate time. So we'll make a function, or not a function. We'll make a variable called raw input, and just make that equal to our whatever input we give into the thing. So yeah, read line and dot r strip. And of course, we're going to be having 2 different things. We're going to have a first input and our second input and a space between them. So there's a few different ways that we can like separate these 2 numbers. The way that I prefer to do it is to just make a list, raw input list, and just make that equal to the list of raw input. And then now we know that this is going to be our at the 0th position. This will be at the first, the space, and the 4 or like the second number will be at the second one. So now we're able to isolate the 2 by saying num1, which is going to be our par, or I could name it par. Par is equal to raw input list 0, and then like hits, I suppose, can be raw input list 2. Or I guess it's strokes. That would be the correct term, I think. So yeah, now we've isolated our first number and our second number, and afterwards we want to just basically get our score by doing our number of strokes minus the number of par. And then, for example, if we were to have like 1 over par, then it would give us an output of 1. If we were to have 1 under par, it would give us an output of -1, or at least the score would be. And we also want to keep track of our cumulative score, so we're going to be using total, or actually I should say total out here, but total is equal to 0 for now. So total plus equals score. And then we want to have a separate list. I can just make another list here that basically gets all of our scores into a list. So scores dot append score. And then of course, another thing that we want to do is we want to give a name to each of our scores such that whatever we get, like for example, if we have -2 as our score, we want to print out eagle because that's going to end up being 2 under par, and that's going to be eagle because 2 under par is eagle. So we're going to need to make a dictionary here. So I'll just call them score names, and we're going to make it so that if we have a score of -2, that becomes an eagle. And then -1 is going to be equal to a birdie. And then 0 is going to be par. 1 is equal to bogey. And then 2 is equal to double bogey. So now we have a dictionary with all of our score names. And then now for now since we have all of our scores inside of a list, we're just going to say, hold on. Yeah. Um, for I in scores, we're going to print um, score names, and then the score, or I guess I. And then this basically just makes it so that we're able to like this just basically just gets the thing based off of what score it is. So like if it's -1, we get birdie and so on. I said that, but like yeah. And then of course we want to have our total score. So if our total is less than 0, then um, we're going to want to make it something under par. So we'll print a string of the absolute value of our total plus under par. Because of course, if we can't just say -1 under par, that's not how that works. And then else, because in any other situation, if it's equal to or over, then we'll just say that it's something over par. In which case, we can just say str total plus over par. And I don't think it said, no periods or any punctuation. So this should be everything. So if we run code, oh, sorry, I did not do dictionaries correctly. That is my fault. Um, okay, this should be fine now. Um, not sure why this isn't working. Oh, that's where I went wrong. I think I just did the whole dictionary wrong, really. Okay. Got a runtime error. Oh, okay. These have to be integers. Um, okay, there you go. So yeah, birdie, double bogey, bogey, birdie, 1/par. Passed this test case, so we should be fine to try and submit our code. Okay, so I'm getting a wrong answer for test case number 1. Equal bogey. Hold on. Okay, I see the problem. Um, what they want us to do, if we have it exactly at par, is for us to just like give par. So, I don't know if we're able to just get our thing again, but okay. Just gonna copy that and throw it back in the problem. So yeah, let's change this a bit so that elif total is equal to 0. We just want to say print par. And then else, which is just when total is greater than 0, then we want to print something over par. So if you run code, that should still be fine. So passes that test case. If we try submitting again, it'll go through both test cases. Okay. So that's golf. We'll move on to the next one. And we'll go to something's missing. Sometimes when we type, we just miss letters. Other times we go to a programming competition and we're asked to remove letters from perfectly good words. Your task is to write a program which, given a string and an integer, will print a new string missing the character at the given place. The first line of the file prob02 in tx.in.txt will contain a positive integer t denoting the number of test cases that follow. Each test case will have the following input: a single line containing the word, then a space, then a positive integer. The integer tells us which character to remove the string and is zero-based, meaning that a zero means take away the first letter. The index given will always be valid, no tricks here. So, for example, it can't just say dog and give an index of like 30. The number that they have at the end is always going to be within the constraints of our original word. Output format, your program should print the new word with the appropriate character missing. So, for example, puppy, if we take away the 0th character, it'll be a P. So it'll print out uppy. For kitten 4, it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it takes out the E, and it'll just say kitten. Same with fish, it takes out the I, so it's fish. And then dog takes out the G, which is at the second position, so it's do, or do. Daw? I don't know. So yeah. Again, first thing that I'm going to do here is to import sys. And then, since this is one of those ones where we have, we need to have the first one that denotes the number of test cases. We need to have a number that where it just tells us how many test cases we have. So we do that at the start. And then for I in range n. So again, we're going to do the same thing since we have a thing where it's like first thing and then a space and then a second thing. And this way, for this one specifically, we're going to do something a little different. So we'll do the same thing with our raw input. And we'll just copy this again. But here, what we're going to do instead is for our raw input list, instead of just turning this directly into a list, because that would actually make it go PUPPY space 0. We can instead do we can do a raw input dot split with a space as our separator, and that'll just give puppy and 0 as our two like things in the list. So now we can separate them out. So the word is going to be equal to raw input list of 0, and then the num, I suppose, is going to be equal to an int of raw input list of 1. And now we can just, we actually have to make a separate thing because we want to put all of our outputs at the end. New word list. Let's just do that. And then we want to append to new word list our new words, as the name suggests. So dot append. And we've done scenarios where we've wanted to take out a specific letter before. We've done like practice problems on that. So the way that we do this is basically just get word from 0 to num. And then we want to add word num plus 1 to the end. And then that's just going to append our new words all into a new list. And then we can just simply print every single thing from that list. So for I in new word list, we print I. So if we run the code, what did I mess up this time? I in range and this here. Oh, I forgot to put an int on here. Okay, yeah, this fits our sample test case, so we can try submitting it, see if it fits for all the other test cases, and as you can see, it does. Both of these have a check mark, so they're completely fine. So yeah, that's something missing. Something's missing. So yeah, we'll go to the third one now, or I guess it's the 8th one, but still. Change digits. So given like a number, given a positive integer, change the integer according to the following rules. Number 1, find the largest digit. If the largest digit appears more than once, the leftmost occurrence will be the digit used below. 2, if that digit is odd, change it to a 0. And 3, if that digit is even, add 4 to that digit. If the sum is greater than 9, then change the digit to the digit in the ones place of the sum. So basically, if we get like 8 and we add 4 to it, that becomes 12. But of course, we can't just add 12 as one of our digits. So we're just going to put in 2. So yeah. For example, here 18234. 8 is of course our largest number or our largest digit there, and we just add 4 to that digit. So 8 plus 4 is 12, but of course we can't have 12, so we just put in 2. So 12234. For 923, we have 9 as our largest number, and of course if it's odd, we change it to a 0. And something interesting that that you guys need to make sure to do here is that if the first number is 0, we can't just we can't just make it 023. We need to make it 23. So we need to actually take away the first number. And then 549, 9 is our greatest number, so we just make 540. Because of course it's odd, so we change it to a 0. So okay, same thing as usual. We're going to import sys, and then just get our little inputs in the workings. Sys dot in dot read line dot r strip. Okay, so now that we have our number, the first thing that we can do is we can put every single digit of our number into a list. So we can make a list called digits and make that equal to a list of num. And what that'll do is it'll just separate every digit of our number into its own element in the list. And then of course all of these are going to be strings. So we're going to have to slightly change it so that for every value, so for I in digits, we want to, or actually for in range of digits, or the length of digits, we want to change each digit to its integer form. So digits I is equal to int of digits I. And that'll just basically have every single value in our integer, or every single value in our list into an integer, or turn every single value of our list into an integer. And of course, we can just simply get our biggest number by saying max of digits, and that'll give us our maximum number. And we'll actually make a second variable, just called temp for now, and make that equal to max num. And you'll see why I do that in a second, but using temp, we're going to be changing that variable around a lot. So if temp is, or temp mod 2 is equal to 0, of course, this checks if it's even, and if it's even, we have to add 4 and then put it in the same place. So if that's even, then we're going to add 4 to temp, so plus equals 4. And then, of course, we can't have it be over 10 or over 9. So we're going to mod equals by 10. And that'll just give us the ones digit of our value, or whatever value we get for temp after adding 4. And then else. So, I mean, the only other possibility that this can have is that it's not equal to 0, that's equal to 1, which makes it odd. We're basically just going to say temp is equal to 0. So now we want to change our digits such that the maximum digit is now temp. And this is the reason why we had max num as a separate value, because now we can do digits of digits dot index of max num is equal to temp. Because if we put temp in here, of course our temp value changes, so it would no longer be our maximum number. So that's why we've had max num as a separate thing this whole time. And then after that, we just want to, well, first actually we want to check if our first value is the max num and if it's odd, because if it is, then we have to just take away that number entirely. So if temp is equal to 0, and digits dot index of temp is equal to 0, wait, actually I think we only need the second portion. Well, either way, all we have to do is just pop our first value in our list, and then now we can well, actually no, we have to do one more thing before that, where we have to turn our things back into a string. So for I in range of digits, we're going to turn digits of I into their string forms. So basically the opposite of what we were doing over here, because what we want to do after is we want to just print. We basically want to turn it back into a string. And then if we run this should be fine, unless I forgot something random. Oh, I did forget something random. Line 16, so that's right here. Length of digits. And yeah, it passes all of our 3 test cases, so we can be fine to submit our code now. And it has 6 different test cases, and it works for every single one of them. So yeah, that is change digits. Okay, we'll move on. And we'll go to string stats. So string stats is a bit of a longer problem compared to the ones that we've had before. because we have 5 different tasks really. First one, given a sentence up to 1024 characters long, we want to output 5 different things. So number 1, we want to output the number of different letters. This will be a number from 1 to 26 inclusive. 2, we want to input the number of vowels, the total number of vowels. Vowels are the letters A, E, I, O, and U. Number 3, we want to have the number of uppercase letters. And then number 4, we want to have the number of times that the most frequent letter appears. There's no distinction between lowercase and uppercase letters. 5, the longest word in the sentence. If there is a tie, print the one that appears first when sorting these words alphabetically without regard to lowercase and uppercase. Yeah. So input format, 1 line of data containing a sentence up to 1024 characters long. So for example, this, that's an example of a phrase that we could get for, or an input that we could get for this one. And then output, we want to print the 5 statistics in that specific order. So yeah. We'll just get started with this one then. First thing, we're going to need our to import sys and then do all that stuff again. For this one, we'll call it phrase. I don't know if it says sentence or phrase. As I say, I guess it says sentence, but I'm still going to use phrase. Sys dot baseline. So now we have our phrase, and we're going to basically iterate through every single letter of our phrase to get most of these things. I think we only need it for these 4. This one we can do separately, but we'll get to that in a second. So for I in phrase, we're going to do a few things. So first off, we want to have the number of different letters. And one way we can do that is we have a set of used letters already. Of course, we haven't used any letters already, so we can keep it in nothing. But if if I is not in used letters, then we want to add it to used letters. So we can say we can do used letters dot append, and then just append I. And basically we just do this. We're going to end up doing this for every single letter in our phrase. So that's our that's this one done. Because if we just get the length of it, then we'll know the number of different letters. For vowels, we're going to create a separate list called vowels, and then have a list of our vowels. So A, E, I, O, U. And for those of you saying that Y is also technically considered, they're only counting A, E, I, O, U here for now. And then vowel count is going to be another variable that we need because we want to actually count the number of vowels. So if I is in vowels, then we're going to vowel count plus equals 1. And now every time that I is a vowel, we're basically just we're adding 1 to our vowel count. Yeah, so that's our vowels done. Next, we want to look at uppercase. And we actually have a specific function, if you guys remember, for checking if it's uppercase or not, and that's the isUpper function. And we actually need a separate count for uppercase letters. So we're going to do upper count, and then upper count plus equals 1. And then that should be our uppercase letters done. Fourth, we want to have the times when the most frequent letter appears. And this is probably one of the hardest, or this is probably the hardest one out of the 5 that we have to do. And there's a few ways to do it, but the way that I'm going to be using is by creating a separate dictionary at the start. So we're going to make a dictionary. And we're basically going to store the count of every single letter in that dictionary, into that dictionary. So technically we could just write A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on, but we don't actually need to do that because there are going to be a lot of letters that just have nothing in them, or like there's going to be some cases where there's none of a certain letter. So here we can do if I dot lower, because if you remember, there's no distinction between lowercase and uppercase letters, so we can just say lower for now. If I dot is lower is not in dict, then we're going to say dict of I dot lower is equal to 1. Else, so in the case that it isn't dict, then we'll just say dict I dot lower is equal to, or is going to be plus equal to 1. So that's number that's the 4th thing. And the 5th thing, sorry. For the 5th one, we want to have the longest word in a sentence. And if there's a tie, then we just print the first one that appears. So for this one, we're going to actually split each word separately. And we're going to do this outside of the for loop because this is not looking at a specific letter. We're looking at words now. So we're going to make a word list where we make that equal to phrase dot split with space as a separator, because that'll give us every single word. So now for I in word list, if the word list is if the word list is at I is greater than or sorry, no, sorry. We're basically making word list equal to the length of I. So we have our list of words, but now we're replacing every single word in with the length of the word. And then from there we can just get the maximum value of that. So we're basically just going to do max. We're going to have a max length. So max length is equal to the max of word list. And then from there we can just print all of these things basically. So first we can print or actually sorry, one more thing. We're going to have a max word here, which basically just gets word list dot index, or actually sorry, we're going to do this actually, or so that we can it's a similar situation to when we had max num back, like I think in the last problem, and we need it because we need to have a list of our words and a list of the length of the words, And we're going to use that to our advantage here by doing this, with our biggest word being the point at which temp is the highest, it's the maximum in our original list of words. So yeah, first we're going to print the length of used letters, because of course that tells us the number of different letters. Then we're going to print vowel count. Then we're going to print upper count. And then we print I think we can print max of dict. I think that should get for the keys, or not the keys, values. But actually uh we could do dict dot values just to be sure of it. And then print max word. There's probably going to be an error somewhere in here, just because it's something that I missed randomly. Temp I, where is that? Here. For I in range temp. And this should actually be temp I as well. Length of temp. Silly mistakes. Now we're stuck here, I think. Oh, this should be max len. Or actually, no. Okay, that's my problem then. Right there. Yeah, the problem that I had, I need to get the index from temp and then get the value of that in word list. I actually just got the index, the point at which word list had temp, which is not how it works there. And we're getting a small problem here. This is weird. That shouldn't be happening. Okay, you know what I could do? Instead of just making it equal, I think that might end up causing a problem or two. So I'm just going to use a dot copy function. Maybe that will help it. It did help something. Okay. Why are we getting 30 for... Maybe this is the problem. Actually, I think these are all the problem for a bunch of these, except for this one. This should fix a lot, hopefully. I fixed 2 of them. That's weird. It should not be doing that. Oh, I have to add it here as well. That still did not fix that. Oh, the problem here is we need to make sure that's an alpha. It's part of the alphabet, because there are commas around, which can give problems. That's probably where I'm going wrong. So, first we need to check if I dot is alpha. We make sure that that's equal to true, and then we make sure that as well. So that should fix the first one. Um, oh, equals, double equals. Okay, yeah. So now it's just these two. Where am I going wrong here? Mm, okay. Um, we're going to do a thing here to get rid of punctuation in our word list. Um, so for I in word list, we're going to basically split them, check if each character is part of the alphabet. If it's not, then we just pop that from our list, and then we join them again, make a new list. So um, I guess word list, or I guess word word chars uh, is equal to um, word list um, I dot split um, and then we want to if I dot is, or I don't need that, I dot is alpha is equal to um, is equal to false. Then we want to, or actually, I think we should do range here. That makes it easier to use because it also uh, does it well here. Um, so if word list of I dot is alpha is equal to false, then we word, or sorry, not word list, word chars. Then word chars dot pop I. And then we basically want to join them again. So word list of I is equal to um, that dot join um, word chars. And that should fix our last one. Length. Where is it? Right here. Again. I need another for loop in here. So for j in range, a word char, or length of word chars, we want to that. Still out of range. Oh, because I didn't change it to j. Where's getting stuck on? Oh, I messed it up. It's the wrong one. Okay. you pop the right thing. That's weird. It should not be doing that. Let me try something else here. Wait, that shouldn't even be a problem there. I'm sorry, I don't know. Um, okay, maybe this is a problem. I think we should split this a different way. Um, okay, I don't know why this is happening. It should be working theoretically. Um, think this is a problem. Okay. Um, Sorry about that. I just had to make a few fixes because, I mean, yeah. But yeah, it ended up going through. Um, just had to make a few. Just had to make sure that the things that I was putting inside the dictionary were from the alphabet. So I can try submitting the code now. And yeah, both of them work. Um, okay. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. So yeah, if you want to take another look at the code, it's right there. I know it's quite a bit, but yeah, that's yeah. I know there's one more left, but we do need to have a bit of time. Something else that we're doing. And to introduce that, I will pass it off to Baron for now.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll be taking it from here. As you guys know, this is our final day. So what we would like to do is we would like to give our farewell speeches first. So I'll begin, and then Aiden will go after, and then we'll just have all the teachers who are here today to give a quick little speech, a farewell speech. So I'll go first. Yeah, it's been such a pleasure to be able to teach you guys. It's really crazy to see your guys' progress. Yeah, we definitely saw your growth. I mean, to think that maybe, beginning of the class that you guys didn't know how to do Python or only knew the basics is just crazy to think about. Like within couple months, you guys learned what some people might learn in, maybe a year. So that's really impressive. And I hope you guys remember that you guys learned Python at like a really, really fast pace. So even if you might not understand, some of the things that we teach, just make sure that you guys remember you guys learn Python at a really, really expedited rate. Okay. So we're all so proud of you guys, and we all see your growth. and we can't wait to see what you guys have to do as alumni, because obviously this is only the beginning of your guys' computer science journey. So yeah, we have alumni, making their own hackathons. We have different Tanzanian alumni doing their own projects now, even like a couple years after Future of Tanzania. So yeah, it's been my pleasure to be able to teach you guys, and I can't wait to see what you guys might have to show after, a couple years after this program. Maybe this was the initial thing that led you to actually have an interest in computer science. So yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys have to offer as alumni. And I'll pass it off to Aiden now.
Yeah. So I mean, Varen said a lot, so I'll try and keep it a little short and sweet. Um, I mean, I just wanted to say it's been an excellent time these past few weeks. It's been really fun teaching you guys, all there is to know about Python. And yeah, like he said, this is like really high. It's like pretty high level Python. So it's really impressive to see how hard you guys have been working and how much you guys have grown in terms of like coding, and your coding knowledge, like from loops to machine learning. It's been great to like teach everyone about those topics. Um, and yeah, I hope that this is like a sort of catalyst for you guys to research more into computer science, whether that be coding or more abstract versions of computer science. I just hope the best for you guys. I wish everyone here a lot of luck in your future coding and computer science adventures. And yeah, that's with that, I'll say my goodbye. And I'll pass it off to whoever feels like who wants to go next. Um, Whoever wants to go next with their speech.
I think I can go next. All right, so it's been around, I think, 5 weeks now, 17 classes total since we first met. And I'll first start off by saying thank you for being like quite amazing students, in my opinion. I had a blast teaching you guys. Although it's pretty much one way, it's kind of a one-way teaching situation where we're the one teaching and you guys only can engage via chats. It was still quite I think you guys, despite being in this situation, engaged quite well with the class, and I'm extremely thankful that you guys were engaging, and that made teaching a lot easier. Also, like the previous two said, we're learning at an extremely quick pace, and it takes a lot to keep up with this, especially when it's online. And I applaud you guys for the effort that you guys made in order to learn this. And yeah, and computer science, as we all know, is a very still popular and still emerging field. And I hope you guys can actually grow on this and become better programmers, or just use it in your daily lives. Who knows? Maybe uh, computers everywhere now. You will need it somewhere someday. So I hope you guys a good journey after this one as well. And thank you for being amazing students.
Okay, so while we kind of read over your thoughts as well, I would also like to take the moment to share just my personal experience of this whole like program. So overall, I think for me it was my first year teaching uh through this program, Future of Tanzania. Overall, I think for me personally, it was just a great learning experience for me personally. And I hope that as much as I've learned, I hope that you guys got like that much out of it as well. I know like a lot of people have said this, but this course was incredibly challenging in my opinion. And the fact that in just a short span of little over a month, you guys were able to just basically like digest all this information um, was I found really impressive, and I feel like with just like the willingness to learn and then just the passion to continue to drive forward. And even though you guys make mistakes, I mean, who doesn't make mistakes? But despite making mistakes, I feel like you guys always have the will to just continue and build off your mistakes. And I know like Chian teacher also just leaves comments on your homeworks, and I think you guys just really learn off that, and I found that really encouraging for me personally. And just I really look forward to what you guys will be able to accomplish with just the knowledge you've built over the 5 weeks. I know like for me, I like to just share my personal experience like briefly. Um, I've before I learned Java, I learned a little bit of Python, but not too like to this extent. So while also teaching you guys, I also had to like teach myself in a way to be able to teach you guys and share the knowledge. And I feel like just learning by myself was very incur challenging, but the fact that I was able to share the knowledge that I had, and like I guess through my efforts, I was able to benefit someone else. Just that fact I found was very meaningful to me, and I really look forward to what you guys will do. Again, like I said, and I guess the next time we meet, of course, we will also be improved in our own skills, and you guys will probably be a lot more adverse in your coding and like programming skills, and whatever like field of computer science you guys choose to go to, whether it be like CS based or like machine learning, like we briefly covered, or just literally anything else. I really want to encourage you to just keep going for that goal. And yeah, so thank you so much for just allowing us to have this opportunity to teach you. And I really want to cheer you on for the rest of your careers.
Okay. My name is Elisha Stratton, and on behalf of all Python students, I'm hereby to say thank you for everything that you have been teaching us, and it has been very helpful to us. And like some of us, it's one of the paths that we are going to take for the career. So you have simplified the path for us, like some who are going to be like programmers, software engineers, computer engineers. I think they will have to learn this Python in the future, but because you have given us this service for teaching us Python, we really thank you very much, because when it on the future when we're going to study like the career will be so simple, because we already know that you have the things that you taught us. For example, for me, the the services, I mean the knowledge you've given us for Python, I managed to build some systems that could help people there outside, like on the shops and on retail services. I mean, I'm so happy, and even my friends, they are so happy for the services that you've given us. We all say thank you very much, and we wish best of luck for all of you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for that speech. Yeah, we really appreciate it, and we always, enjoy hearing from you guys, right? Because it's pretty rare for us to see and hear you speak. We usually just texting you guys. And, so yeah, that was thank you very much for that speech. And yeah, now we're gonna move on to like a little like a bye bye message type of thing. So if the members of Future of Tanzania, if you guys could upload like a photo of yourself to the hi and bye, right? You guys can yeah, upload a little message with it as well, like a bye a farewell note. But yeah, if you can upload like a little selfie, we're also going to do it as well. So yeah, that would be great if everyone could do that. So that goes for the teachers and the Future of Tanzania students as well.
Okay, so while everyone's typing their messages into the chat, I also would like to share a short message to everyone. So it was amazing being a part of this process and helping you guys, introducing you guys to Python. And I thought it was really encouraging and really inspiring to see everyone coming back every day and learning new concepts almost every day, even though they're really hard and really um, um, and really new. And another part that I didn't really know about, but it was amazing seeing how dedicated everyone was. And I hope that you'll continue to use this knowledge and get deeper into computer science in the future.
Hello. Um, I just wanted to say I was really impressed and I was really surprised when I taught Python to you guys. Um um yeah, although I had like a lot of mess ups because I was like it was my first time teaching. I was like um um oh like you guys were very patient with me, and so like even right now too, even as I speak. Um, yeah, thank you guys so much, and I hope your future as a programmer would grow like so much, and you'll have a great career in computer science.
Um, if everyone has gone, everyone that's said something has said something, then I mean, for the last time, I guess. Uh, Nobody has any more questions, nothing else to say. We'll be saying bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
you.